Hello grade 4 and how are you doing? This is Miss Susan. Today's topic is about area, lesson 13.2. Today we will remember together what is the area. And we said before that the area is the distance inside any shape. So we want to know the space inside any shape by counting how many square units covering any shape without gaps or overlaps. However, today we've got to predict a new formula or a new rule will help me to figure out the area of any rectangle without dividing the shape into squares. So, let's see our today's essential question.
How can you use a formula to find the area of a rectangle?
So, we're going to predict a formula or a standardized rule will help me to find the area of any rectangle. So, let's see.
How are the base, height, and area of a rectangle related? Let's unlock this problem.
What is the relation between base, height, and the area? To find the formula of the area or to predict the rule that I can use to help me to find the area, we have first to find the relation between base, height, and the area of any shape or any rectangular shape. So first you have to know what is the base of the shape and what is the height of the shape. So let's unlock and see.
The base, B, of a two-dimensional figure can be any side. The height, H, is the measure of a perpendicular line segment from the base to the top of the figure. Remember, perpendicular lines and perpendicular line segments form right angles.
So that's the B.
Now you know what the base.
Now you know that's the B, which stands for the base. H stands for the height. The base and the height are the two dimensions or the two line segments of the rectangle, and they must be perpendicular. And do you remember what's the word perpendicular? Perpendicular means the two line segments meet and form the shape of the square or the angle of the square between them, right? So let's continue.
And height of a rectangle are. What do they have to do with the area? Area is the number of square units needed to cover a flat surface without gaps or overlaps. A square unit is a square that is 1 unit long and 1 unit wide. To find the area of a figure, count the number of square units inside the figure when it's covered without gaps or overlaps. How many square units cover this rectangle?
Okay, so you know now the base, you know the height. Now let's know the area. The area is counting how many square units covering the space inside the shape without gaps or overlaps. So we have to count how many squares are inside this shape to find its area. So let's count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. So they are 15 squares. Or instead of counting this whole amount of squares, you can say this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So each row is 5. This means 5 and 5 and 5. So let's count. 5 plus 5 is 10. Plus 5 is 15. Or in another way, as it's 5 plus 5 plus 5, this is a repetitive addition, right? So we can consider it a multiplication. We can say I have 5, then I added 3 times. This means I multiplied by 3. So let's multiply 5 in each row by how many in each row? There are 3 5s. So it will be 3 times 5. It will give me 15. Is there a connection now? Did I make a formula instead of counting the squares? I guess so. I said the number, how many rows? We have 3 rows. by the number in each row. The number in each row is 5 squares in each row. So I multiplied them together to give me the same numbers of squares inside the shape without counting them. Is that the formula? Let me see. So the area again is 15.
It takes 15 square units to cover this rectangle, so the area is 15 square units. Let's fill in this table to find the areas of some more rectangles. The base of the first rectangle is 5 units. How many units in the height?
So let's count. The base here is how many squares in the base? 5. And how many rows do we have of squares? We have 2. So the height will be 2. And what is the area? If you count the area, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 squares in the area. So the height again is 2. The base is 5 units in each row. And the area is 10 squares in all.
There are 2 units in the height. So what's the area of this rectangle? Count the square units. The area is 10 square units. It takes 10 square units to cover the rectangle. What are the base and the height of the second rectangle?
I have in the row or in the base 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 squares in the base. And how many rows do we have? We have 2 rows or 2 squares in the height. So this is 6 and 2 is the height. And what is the area? If you count the squares, it will give you 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So the area is 12. So the base again is 6, the height is 2, and the area is 12. Let's check and see.
The base is 6 units and the height is 2 units. Count the square units to find the area. The area is 12 square units. Now the base, height, and area for the third rectangle can be filled in. The base is 4 units and the height is 4 units. The area is 16 square units. 5 units times 2 units equals 10 square units. The same is true for the second row. 6 units times 2 units equals 12 square units. And 4 units times 4 units equals 16 square units. So you can see that the area of a rectangle is equal to...
Now you know the relation? If you multiply the 2 dimensions together, b times h, it will give you the same number of squares inside the area, which found the area. So now we can write the formula that the area of any shape is equal b, which is the base, the number in each row, by multiplying by the height. The height is how many rows in all do we have, and that will equal the product of the 2 numbers, which is give me the area, how many squares in all, right? So that's our formula, our rule today.
The product of the base times the height. You can use a formula to find the area of a rectangle. A formula for finding the area of a rectangle is A equals B times H. A stands for area, B stands for base, and H stands for height. Now use the formula to figure out the area of this rectangle.
So again, instead of counting the squares inside, we can say how many the number in the base by how many the rows do we have, which is the height. So we can multiply b base times the height will give me the area. But is the square considered a rectangle? Yes, square is considered one type of rectangles. It's the same, has two pairs of parallel sides and all its angles are right angles, but the difference here that it has all sides are equal. So a square is considered a rectangle. So we can implement this formula to find its area too. Now let's see how we can find the area of the shape. B here is how many squares? 3. The height here is how many squares? 3. So let's multiply 3 times 3 to find the area.
First, count the number of units in the base. B is 3. Then, let's see what the height is. H is 3 also. Now, multiply 3 times 3 to find out what the area is.
3 times 3 is equal 9 square
The area of this rectangle is 9 square units. Use the formula to find the area of another rectangle. This time the measurements are shown in the diagram. So you can fill in the formula replacing B and H with the measurements given. Multiply 8 feet times 3 feet to find the area of this rectangle.
Okay, so again, what is the formula again? What is the rule to find the area? Area A is equal B times H, base multiplied by the height. But here, do we have squares? No, we have dimensions. So let's multiply the length of the base times the length of the height to find the area. The base here is 8, the height is 3. So let's multiply 8 times 3. You can use timetable 8 or timetable 3. So it will give me 24 square unit. Is it a square unit today? Now, we will use feet as a dimension. So instead of saying square unit, it will be square feet.
The area is 24 square feet.
Instead of saying again 24 square unit, no, we have dimension now. The unit that I'm using is feet. That's why I replaced or substitute the word unit by the word feet. Okay, so the area now is 24 square feet because the dimension of each square is feet. Okay, let's move to another example.
Find the area of this rectangle. Use the formula A equals B times H to find the area. Complete the formula with the measurements in this diagram.
So again, I said the formula is if you multiply the base times the height, it will give you the area. So what is the base here? It's 4. And the unit is centimeter. What is the height here? It's 7. And the unit is centimeter.
Good job! You filled in the formula with the correct measurements, 4 centimeters and 7 centimeters. What's the area of the rectangle?
Let's multiply 4 times 7. So I'll say timetable 4. 4, 8, 12, 16, 20, 24, 28. So 4 times 7 is 28. And the unit here is a square, but the unit of the squares is centimeter. That's why we write the area is 28 square centimeter.
Great! You multiplied correctly. The answer is 28 square centimeters.
You use square centimeter instead of saying square unit because the unit here is known and its dimension is centimeter. Okay?
Now try your homework on your own with the personal math trainer. It includes the exercise you saw at the beginning of the lesson.
Thank you, grade 4, for watching. Hope that you understood the lesson. See you tomorrow with another lesson.
Thanks for helping me find the area of the ceiling in the diner. See you soon.
Bye-bye.